This is R2D Tech and we're back again with another video today about the OnePlus 8 Pro. So firstly, we will also be doing a video on the OnePlus 8, so definitely watch out for that if you're interested. So this is really the first year where OnePlus have created a phone that can really compete on every level with all the other flagships out there, from Samsung, Google and Apple. As usual, they have the best specs, a really great design, and for the first time in OnePlus history, a really great camera system as well. So first off, in terms of design, not much has changed since last year and a couple of months ago with the OnePlus 7T Pro. You're still getting the same Gorilla Glass sandwich on the back and front and also an aluminium frame. It would have been really nice to see a steel frame like we have on the iPhones, however, OnePlus didn't do that this year. In terms of colors this year, you can either go for glacial green, ultramarine blue or onyx black, which all look pretty attractive. In my opinion, the glacial green looks the best. Probably the biggest change that OnePlus have made this year in terms of the actual appearance of the phone is that no longer do you have that pop-up selfie camera. It's now a hole punch camera on the left side of the screen. And to be honest, to me, it doesn't make too much of a difference. It is a really tiny hole punch camera compared to the massive screen that you get. So that screen is actually a 6.78 inch AMOLED screen, which is just absolutely massive. It's slightly larger than the one you got on the OnePlus 8. It's 1440p and has a refresh rate of 120 Hz, which is the same as you got on the Galaxy S20 Ultra. To be honest, the difference between 90 Hz like you got on the OnePlus 7 Pro last year and 120 Hz is not that big. You'll only really see it if you're really looking for it, but still, it is a pretty incredible display to have, and it's just really smooth when you're scrolling through apps. You also get the optical fingerprint sensor under the display as usual, and it's pretty fast like it was last year. For the first time on any OnePlus phone, it is also IP68 water resistant. That's just another sign from OnePlus that this is actually a flagship with no compromises whatsoever. In terms of I/O, the only port you do get is the USB-C port, which will offer you fast charging at 30 watts. They claim that will get you 50% in 23 minutes. You do also get fast wireless charging for the first time on a OnePlus phone, and they claim that will get you 50% in 30 minutes. Now you get a 4510 mAh battery, which is pretty huge. That should give you a pretty decent battery life, but you do have to take into account that you do have that 120 Hz screen, so if you have that enabled, your battery life will take a pretty significant hit. It's nice also to see that OnePlus has implemented reverse wireless charging at 3 watts, so if you want to charge your wireless earbuds or another person's phone, you can do that. So now onto the specs. As you would expect from OnePlus, you are getting the best specs you can possibly get on any phone. You're getting the Snapdragon 865, and in terms of RAM and storage, you can either go for 128 gigs with 8 gigs of RAM or 256 gigs with 12 gigs of RAM. 12 gigs of RAM is just a pretty ridiculous amount of RAM to have on a phone. You're never going to use that much. So I would strongly recommend going for the 8 gigs of RAM with 128 gigs of storage, especially because in terms of storage, if you're using cloud services such as Google Photos and Google Drive, you definitely won't need that much storage on your phone. So obviously with those specs, you're going to get an incredibly smooth experience, and it should be able to handle everything you throw at it. So the OnePlus 8 Pro is running Android 10 with Oxygen OS 10 on top. It's an incredibly clean experience. Other than stock Android, it's my favorite skin. It's got no bloatware whatsoever, and it's just incredibly pleasing to look at. Since it is a OnePlus phone, it will also be one of the first in line to get the new versions of Android from Google, so that is also a bonus of getting a OnePlus phone. Now onto the cameras, and I think this is possibly the most exciting area of this new OnePlus phone. So you're getting a 48 megapixel wide lens, an 8 megapixel telephoto lens which has 3 times optical zoom, and a 48 megapixel ultra wide lens. You do also get a 5 megapixel depth sensor which will help with things like portrait mode. All of the lenses are actually incredibly good on this phone. I would say they are on the same level as the Samsung phones and the Huawei phones, but slightly below what Google and Apple have to offer. You do also get the nightscape mode included, and it's as good as any of the other night modes on all the flagship phones. It just captures an incredible amount of detail with incredibly low light. Like many other cameras we've seen nowadays, it does also have a 30 times digital zoom, which can capture an incredible amount of detail as well from what obviously very far back. In terms of video quality, you can either film at 4K 30 frames a second or 60 frames a second, or 1080p 30, 60 or 240 frames per second for slow-mo. Those are all standard on almost all flagship phones nowadays. Overall, the cameras on the new OnePlus 8 Pro have just improved massively since the OnePlus 7 Pro and 7T Pro. It was the one area where OnePlus used to be at such a disadvantage, and now they've closed that gap significantly. Overall, the OnePlus 8 Pro is just an incredible phone. I would say it's one of, if not the best flagship out right now. You're getting that incredible screen, the amazing specs, and that significantly improved camera system. However, the catch is that OnePlus have increased the price to £799 or $869. That's a significant jump in price from last year, and it's another sign that OnePlus is moving into the more premium sector of the smartphone market. The price increase is probably due to the more expensive lenses that you get in this phone, but it's up to you whether that's worth it or not. If you're someone who doesn't enjoy taking photos on their phone, then this phone probably isn't for you. However, if you want an all-round amazing phone, then this is probably the one to get, as long as you don't care about the price. That's it from this video. If you liked it, please press the thumbs up button. If you loved it, please consider subscribing.